You know, I was thinking today, oh, I should start filming Christmas looks. Here we are. Hello, welcome to my video. If you're from my Instagram, I love you. If you're not from my Instagram, love you all the same. So as you can see, today we're going to be talking about cutting the crease. Now, obviously, I'm just going to be showing you one of a million ways that you can actually cut a crease. This is my favorite way, and it's also good because you really don't need any extra tools for this. You're just going to need like 3 brushes, Q-tips, and Vaseline, and that's it. I am also briefly going to be telling you about how I blend the colors into shape before actually cutting the crease itself, but that's not going to be the focal point of today's video, just because if I also gave detailed instructions on that, I think the video would be about an hour long, and I'm sure nobody would watch it. But if you would be interested in a blending tips and tricks type of video, I could do it in the future and have that be its own separate video, because I do have a lot of things to say about blending, and obviously blending does take some time. I'm gonna stop blabbering and I'm just gonna show you what you're gonna need for today, and let's get this party started. So you're gonna need an eyeshadow base or a concealer, a small detailed blending brush, this is the E36 by Sigma, a slightly bigger and fluffier brush, this is the 117 by P. Louise, 3 eyeshadows that are from the same family but different shades. I'm going to be using this dark purple, medium, and light. A dense flat brush that you're actually going to use to cut the crease. This one is by BH Cosmetics, but you could use whatever brush you like. It doesn't have to be this small as long as it's flat and dense. Some Vaseline. Last but not least, Q-tips. I'm going to be using cosmetic Q-tips, but you could use regular ones. So first of all, you're just going to take your primer and prime your entire eye area, just like I've already done. And then you're going to take your small detailed brush and coat it with the darkest of the 3 colors that you have. For me, this is dark purple. So a couple of notes before we actually begin. Number 1, the placement of your darkest and your first shade is very important. You don't want to place it way too low because you're going to end up cutting it off with the Vaseline, but you don't want to place it way too high because you won't be able to have space to blend out that 3rd shade seamlessly because your eyebrow is going to be getting in the way. So you want to place it somewhere in the middle. If you're not sure exactly where to place it, I would recommend placing it a little lower rather than a little higher. And another thing is that some people actually sketch out the entire line and then start blending it out and doing all of this, but for me, I actually work in small increments and blend as I go and kind of play a connect the dots to get the shape wherever I want it to be. You're gonna understand what I mean when I start showing you. So you're gonna take your brush and you're gonna start from wherever you feel comfortable. Some people start at the middle, some people start at the beginning. You can even start at the end if you want. I'm just gonna start from the beginning. And you're gonna hold your brush sort of lightly, and you're just going to press down, pick a spot and press down, and then wiggle your brush very lightly left and right. So what we have right now is kind of messy, but that's what you're gonna do to get the line however you want it to be. Now what you have to remember is that you have to trust the process. This is going to be messy at first, but you're going to get there. So now that it's looking something like this, you're going to want to take that same brush that you've been using up until this point and just wipe whatever's left on it on a clean, dry paper towel. Wipe it completely off, and then you're just going to want to start diffusing the edges a little bit. Now your goal is not to blend the edges out, just diffuse them slightly. So now that it's looking sort of like this, you want to dip that same brush into your middle shade. Now you want to apply the middle shade right in between the skin and where you applied the darkest shade. And I'm using a windshield wiper motion to do this. So this is what it should look like, and for the last time you're going to clean off that same exact brush that we've been using and you're going to dip it into the lightest shade. And again, you want there to be some overlap with this last shade that we applied, so you want to apply the lightest one right around here. So now you're just going to want to take your fluffier brush and really blend out the edges of that last shade until you're satisfied with the end result. So now, because we've been blending so much, we lost the intensity of that middle shade and the darkest purple, and we're going to add them back in. So this is basically the finished product. I'm just gonna do a little bit more of some detailed blending, but you should get something like this in the end. So now you wanna apply some Vaseline to a mixing palette or your hand and then generously coat your brush with it. Your brush should be looking something like this. It really doesn't matter whether or not you coat the entire brush in Vaseline, as long as you coat the tip generously, because that's what we're gonna be cutting the crease with mostly. So you wanna start from the beginning and just start rubbing away at that dark shade.
So the easiest way to do this is to clean your eye in multiple parts. I do it in 3 parts. So first I clean one part of my eye until I'm satisfied, then I wipe the brush off vigorously and apply more fresh Vaseline on it, then move on to the second part, and lastly the third. Again, really making sure I clean off my brush well in between each section. You could do 4 sections, 5, you don't have to do 3. You can do however many you want, but I wouldn't recommend trying to clean everything up in one go because it will get messy.
So you're left with something like this, and as you can see, I still have a few little imperfections right around this area. My wing is not completely straight, but that's an easier thing to fix with your eye primer than it is with Vaseline. So we're just gonna go over this line, this general guide, with the eye primer, and if you see some imperfections, we're just gonna cover them with the eye primer and make it all look seamless. So we're just gonna stamp it on. We're not gonna drag it, just stamp the primer on. So from here, now that we've stamped the general shape on, I'm just gonna blend it into place. So this is the finished product. I had a really hard time doing this and trying to film this and stay in frame, but this is the best I could do. Now, a little extra tip to get this extra sharp if you want. So again, obviously this is completely optional, but if you want, you can take an angled brush and dip it into the darkest color and then really go over it one more time, and that's gonna make everything look extra sharp. And then just blend it out a tiny bit right around the edges as well, but you're gonna see what a difference that's gonna make. I'm gonna show you. Now you're just gonna wipe off the excess and dip into the middle shade and just blend that out slightly, and it's gonna look really crisp. So I'm placing it right above the darkest shade, and that way I'm gonna blend it out really nicely. So at this point, that's as sharp and as crisp as we can get it. I really enjoy doing this shape. Now let me go finish up the rest of the eye and I'll get back to you. So this is the final look. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Also, let me know what you want to see from me as always, and follow my Instagram. And don't forget to let me know your thoughts on that blending tutorial in the future. But anyway, I hope you're having a great day and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.